the name of this chapter or this section is called A New Witness. And I feel like that is like not even an understatement, but it's just like calling this new. I know they don't want to spoil anyone, but it's like a new witness, and it's like, yeah, this is probably the one of the most crazy new witnesses ever. Leave it to Ace Attorney to basically let you get all the answers as much as possible, and then not all the answers, but a lot of answers. And then as soon as you get those answers, they go, what if we change every question? What if we change everything? We are in the final chapter of this game, and this chapter is long, but like I don't feel it, right? Even though like this is a crazy reveal and the whole thing with Amara has been so crazy and mind-melting, I don't feel tired of this game. I don't feel like, drained of this game. I'm actually very excited to get into more of this. And I really feel like the reason why that is first of all, like I don't think it's a game that like is poorly paced at all, but like even if a game was like very long, and this chapter is long for sure, I still think that the way we're playing it is probably the better way to play it, which is, now I'm not saying you can't play it all in big chunks, but for me, I'm taking everything as it comes. I'm taking it bit by bit. I'm never thinking about like how long more is left in this. I'm never thinking about, what's the ending going to be like in this? I'm taking every single episode we play as it comes. And instead of just thinking about how, instead of thinking about like, this is a long 14-hour chapter, I think of it as like, this is just another chapter in the game. We like to live in this world, get immersed in the world, love this world, love the characters, and take everything as it comes. You know what I mean? We're going to take every bit as it comes. So even though this whole thing has been very long, because when you think about it, like Addison was the start of this quest, the start of this chapter. But even with that, it's like, I'm having such a good time because I'm taking everything bit by bit, taking every reveal as it comes. And even last episode, you saw there, like when I was getting emotionally kind of like, my melted last episode, I was like, okay, let's take a break here, and I think it's the best way we can do things. By the way, my name is Calvin, also known as Romer, and this is my first ever playthrough of Spirit of Justice. We're about to do a testimony with Queen Amara. An amazing design, by the way, but really crazy things happening here. We haven't even seen what Dhurke's reaction to this is going to be, you know what I mean? The lawyer's theory is absurd. That's the name of this whole testimony. Now I shall destroy your utterly absurd and barbarous theory, okay? I was not anywhere near the tomb following the murder. Okay? Were your theory correct, I would have been in the tomb once I had stopped channeling. Right. Are we still going with the idea that like they could have hidden the sarcophagus? My husband Dhurke is the killer, but he has fled from the sacred hall. Look at the wind blowing in her hair. So she's going with like Dhurke is the killer, by the way. She's going with Dhurke is the killer. May the Holy Mother rain judgment upon the traitor Dhurke Samadi for his crimes. I need to have a full conversation with her how much she's changed. Because the way Dhurke describes it was like a loving relationship. It was beautiful. It was magical for him, It's so strange to me. Oh, such marvelous testimony. You truly are a treasure, your mercifulness. This too is but by the grace of her holiness. No doubt my unmasking here today was her will as well. Okay. Oh my, the Holy Mother, you say? See, this is what's so crazy is like, we kind of got the judge coming closer to reason throughout this trial, but like when it comes to Garan and Amara being in the same place, he's very like enamored, as you would be if you grew up believing in this stuff all this time, right? 100%. Surely your holiness has guided me to the witness stand. Stop! No! 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 What is that tiger? Wait, you can't Disney like this. And that's what she's doing. She's like, I'm just a freaking princess. You know what I mean? This is what I am. You know that meme where it's like, I'm just a princess and you're all my woodland animals that listen to me talk. That's what it is. I use that meme sometimes in my own myself where I like post that picture. It was like, this is me and the baby gangsters. I'm just a princess and you're all the woodland creatures who hang around with me. But like, she's full on doing like Disney princess here. Like, we can't do this. This is crazy. How magnificent Queen Amara, the Holy Mother's messenger here on earth. This is insane. She's Disney princessing this. Where did those animals even come from? I know it's crazy, Apollo. It's crazy. Now the defense may question the witness. But remember, she is a grand priestess, so disrespect will not be tolerated. Oh my god, that means no pointing out... What? No pointing out conflicts, inconsistencies, or flaws in testimony. Mr. Judge. It's literally what we have to do here. I love the we're up against Nayuta as well, by the way. The lawyer's theory is absurd. So the first statement, I think every statement could be pressable, but, or maybe, like, I think the first statement, no. This one could be, I was nowhere near the tomb. Were your theory correct, I would have been in the tomb. I think we can press that too. We can press this. Because he's talking with Dhurke as the killer, but we might get more information on it. The Holy Mermaid Judgment. And this one I don't think we need to press. I think the first and the last one I think the middle three are probably good to press right now. I know like a lot of people, look at these animals, it's freaking crazy. That tiger's scary. I know like some people like me pressing like a lot of the stuff here, but like the way I like to play the games always is kind of like, I press what catches my eye. And it makes me feel very immersed, right? It really does. Well, maybe you were hiding inside the sarcophagus. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. After all, it does technically belong to you. I bet you'd have no trouble opening it. If I had been there, I could not have been here today. For the tomb has been under constant surveillance since the murder. I would have never been able to leave. That's not a bad point. Like, it's not a terrible comeback. It's not at all. It's actually a very good point. It's not terrible at all. If I might ask, what is in that sarcophagus anyway? You're still alive, so... There is despair, sadness, hatred, and malice. With what? Only brave enough to see the truth hidden deep within. Only one? Could discover the final hope, my continued corporeality. You're what? Corporeal is like being like, you know, on this earth, right? Like a human. In other words, it's empty. Okay, so she's saying it's empty, okay. But no one dared to open it because they were too scared of the curse. Now will you dispense with your theory? It is empty as my sarcophagus. Okay. So the third one, were your theory correct, I would have been in the tomb once I stopped channeling. I'll admit you weren't in the tomb after the murder. Very good, but that very truth refutes your theory. Even if I had channeled Minister Igna. Very cool way of changing it on the map, right? And entered the tomb. The moment I ceased channeling him, I would have re-emerged at the crime scene. It's really cool that they're showing that change, right? Just something very small. Precisely as you said, your self-defense. Queen Amara was not there after the murder. The only living souls in the tomb at that time were Dhurke Samadhi and Maya Fey. Ah. Be it in life or this life or the next. There is no escaping such simple truths. It's so crazy how like they've turned this trial so much upside down that it feels like any opening we had feels like we have like, it's just pressure. It's turned into pressure now, you know? It just really does. We can press this too. I'm not, again, it's one of those things where like, I don't think it's as important as the other two, but then again, the other two don't seem to be like crazy important too. Well, then again, we never know if it's one of those things we have to press everything. There must be a reason why you had to make his escape today. A reason? Ah, reason, perhaps. Perhaps what? Perhaps to conceal himself and lie and wait for another chance to claim my life. What's this? So she's saying he wants to assassinate him again. Or her again. Or try to assassinate her again. No, it's definitely not like that, your mercifulness. First of all, you don't really believe he's trying to kill you, do you? This is what's so hard for Apollo to deal with as well, by the way. It's the idea of, again, and I would have a hard time believing it too, because again, we heard this romantic thing between the two of them, this love they have between the two of them, and now to hear this is so difficult, you know? After all, you two ran off together after you rescued all those years ago. Let's hear what her perception of this is. That's only because he had the audacity to claim it wasn't me, you must believe me. So she's saying that he lied? In her view, it was my duty as a wife to her husband. No. Here's the thing, side note, never. You don't have a duty to anyone but like in this sense, but yourself. You gotta, if you think he killed you, regardless of what duty you have, don't be with this dude. To bend an ear to him, was it not? No. Like, I know like she's clearly like not a good person now, right? Very much so. But you guys know I'll always stand on my own beliefs. Like, you do not have a duty to your partner if you think they are being bad, and you don't have a duty. The word duty to your partner anyway is kind of like, I think like someone could say, well, Calvin, like a duty in like, you know, caring about that person and being with that person, supporting that person. Yeah, that's different. But the way she's talking about is like, I have to just like ignore my feelings for this person. No, not at all. Even though Dhurke didn't try to kill her, you know? But I'm just saying on the basis of principles. Communication after disagreement is the secret to a long and happy marriage. That's not Amara. A disagreement isn't like... A disagreement is like, where should we go to eat? Or you left out your clothes again. Or something like that. That's a disagreement that you can overcome. A disagreement isn't... Oh, I think you killed me. No, I didn't. Wow, what a happy marriage. Sure, I guess. What do you think, Mr. Wright? Don't ask me. That is why I listened to Dhurke. However, he didn't have a shred of evidence to support his claim. It grieves me to admit it, but my husband truly did try to murder me. It's crazy that she just like, it's completely different from what I thought this was going to be. I thought when we first saw Amara, it was going to be such a beautiful reunion between her and Dhurke. I genuinely thought it was going to be like embracing each other. This is insane. Oh, so okay, the ones we thought were most important, it makes sense. Yeah, the first statement seemed like it was just like a preamble to or a prologue to the rest of the statements, and the last one was kind of just like near like a closing statement, right, to the actual important parts. It felt like that makes sense. It's abundantly clear that Queen Amara's testimony is flawless. Do you understand now, lawyer? This is bad. The judge isn't going to let me cross-examine her much longer. Amara should have been in the tomb after the minister's murder, but she wasn't. I don't get it. How did she just vanish from the scene of the crime like that? It shouldn't be possible for normal people to. For normal people? What are we getting at, Apollo? What are we getting at? Ah, maybe. Maybe what? Your Majesty, I think I can explain why Queen Amara wasn't there in the tomb after the murder. Very well, defense, do explain. I believe it was accomplished through a method only she is capable of. Wait, the channeling? By using this special method, it would be possible for her to literally disappear. Wait, what? Wait, what? Don't keep us waiting, let's hear it. How did Queen Amara disappear from the tomb? She hid in the sarcophagus, she channeled someone, she clung to this channel someone? That's what she can do, right? Only she can do that. Clung to the ceiling is insane. She channeled someone, right? All she had to do was channel someone. Then she could easily disappear from the scene of the crime. After all, she would literally be someone else. Well, I believe that actually makes sense. What do you have to say to that, Queen Amara? Okay, the pause. You believe that I, a grand priestess, would use the sacred power of the spear channeling to commit murder? Your sister does not give a damn about any of this stuff, so why would you give a damn about this stuff? And you're in cahoots with each other, so why would you give a damn? Oh god. The music pausing. Whoa. The way like all the animals ran away as well. It's like a little slight change showing like she has like maybe a little bit of anger towards us in a sense, but she's trying to keep that facade up as well, it feels like. Even the judge ran away. It's like almost like holy judgment in a way, you know, like the lightning. How dare you spew such vile blasphemy, defense? We're trying to find the true frickin' answer here, Judge. It's just unfair if we can't question her just because you believe she's some holy frickin' deity at this stage. You will retract your last statement or face immediate execution. That is ridiculous. Every bit of praise I have for you, I take it back. Every bit of praise. It's over now. Every bit of praise. It's crazy stuff here. It's actually just insane. No, good majesty. It is quite all right. Codeism also teaches that we must respond at all times with reason and principle. That's the freaking problem. The teachings of Crane are so warped and all over the place, and you can change laws on the fly, you can do all this stuff on the fly, that, like, what does it truly freaking even, like, mean at this stage? You know what I mean? It's like there's... If people who are, like, devout followers of your religion don't even know the rules, at that point it means it's flimsy, you know what I mean? And you could say it about real religion. Yeah, you could. You could 100% say it about real religion. But there's good people who follow real religion too. Like, you know, even though I don't believe in God and all that stuff, you know. Therefore, I shall offer one measured response to this blasphemous accusation. You have something to counter with? Indeed. Now, are you listening? It would not have been possible to simply vanish by means of spirit channeling because she would have still been in the body and they would notice a dead person leaving. After all, it would require a deceased person to channel. Yeah, I was thinking that too. But the channeling was the only thing that made sense. Like clinging to the ceiling, I don't know what the hell's that. However, there was only one murder victim in the tomb. You could just channel anyone in the world, right? If you knew their face and name, right? And that was Minister Igna. The only others were right after his murder. Where Dhurke and Miss Faye. Yeah, but the thing is, like, couldn't she just channel anybody who was dead? Couldn't she legitimately just be like Jerry from down the road, you know? Ah, had I channeled Igna as you allege? Well, the outcome would have been quite absurd, to say the least. Yeah, but I think she's being too rigid with this. I think we could, again, I know she's still right in saying that like someone would notice like anybody leaving who was like a dead person, 100%. But like, it's not relegated to just people who are in the room. That's not what it's relegated to. But what she's saying is that for it to make sense and people to not notice someone leaving, would have to be someone who was actually in the room at the time that you wouldn't notice it's out of place. If you did channel Jerry down the road and people came into the room and Jerry from down the road, the farmer from down the road, was just standing in the middle of the corner, Jerry's getting arrested. You know what I mean? And yeah, 100%. For there beside the dead minister, a living, breathing one would have appeared. Even if I had been in the tomb, there's no one to channel except the deceased minister. So you see, I could not have vanished by the means of spirit channeling. That's true, but we have a but? I can't rule it out yet. I love that what Apollo's doing in this trial. Apollo is doing this thing in this trial that's fantastic, where he's like admitting he is wrong about some parts, but he keeps on the same trail because he knows there's something about it, and I love that. He did the same thing with Maya earlier. I love it. Because, well, what if there was another victim? Wait, you're saying someone else died in there? Someone we haven't identified yet? Wait, what are we talking about? Who? Who could it be? How absurd. If you channeled someone other than Minister Igna, you could have used their identity to disappear from the tomb. Who? Is it Jerry from down the road? Like, what are we doing? Another victim? Queen Amara. What are we doing? Please add your last statement to your testimony. This could explain what are we doing. Wasn't there some other sign of a victim in the Was there? I mean, all we have is I remember there was blood on the sarcophagus, but we identified that as Dhurke's blood, right? My controller actually has a bit of drift, guys, if you ever see him going back and forth there. I don't think we have the evidence of the blood in the sarcophagus, but we identified this as Dhurke's blood, right? 100%. But there was blood on the back of the sarcophagus too. Do we have signs of another victim? And yet, why do I sense I'm not going to like what I'm about to find out? What are we talking about? So what's added to the testimony? Minister Igna was the sole victim there. Was no other spirit channel and he was dead. Should we press this? Should we just press this and see?
Hold it!
A double press? What if there was another victim beside Minister Igna? What on earth could you mean? The only body we could, like, the only other thing we have is the blood, but all we have is the blood that was identified already as Dhurke, so they're just gonna say it was Dhurke's blood. Yeah, but, Amara's counter-arguments are too spot on for us to refute. Actually, there is one possibility. What's the matter, Apollo? That's one heck of a face you're making. Oh, no, it's nothing, really. And yet, that means... What do you mean that means? The only thing we have is legitimately the other blood that was in the room. And that was always seen as someone else's blood, but it was revealed as Dhurke's blood. That's the problem. That is the problem. I'm just gonna present it. Because again, it was our first sign that someone else was cut in there, right? From the start.
Objection!
Yep, that's it, okay. But they identified, so could they have been lying about, like, whose blood? Because that's what I thought at first. I thought they were lying about this. I can't believe I'm presenting this. But it proves that there was another victim. Still, the only ones there at the scene of the crime were... two... Apollo. What are we doing? What are we doing? Would the defense care to share something with us? What are we doing? Queen Amara, what are we doing? You knew, didn't you? You knew? Whatever you're talking about, oh, my heart is pounding, guys. What are we doing? I'm trying to like speak up even for like I was like my body was almost stopping me there for a second, guys, but sorry for like the moments of silence. He said there was another victim here, but the only two there were Dhurke and Maya. Is he saying one of them were the victims? If you won't tell the court, then I will. What are we doing? Well, don't keep us waiting. This case includes a second What are we doing? One of the two people found alive in the tomb after ministering to the minister's murder was actually already... This is... What are we doing? I know for a fact, guys, there's no way they kill off Maya. Are they saying Dhurke is dead? There's no... What? There's no freaking way. No. I have never felt so instantly sick in my life. What the hell? It's Dhurke's blood. There's no, I always hate bringing that type of logic into it, but there's no way they would kill off Maya in this way. There's no way. I do think they would kill off a main character. Like, I wouldn't think they'd be afraid to do it. I'm saying they wouldn't do that. Maya's death would never be like this. That's what I'm saying. And like, but a second victim, Apollo, I feel so sick. Queen Amara, after you channel Minister Igna moved to the tomb, you vanished from the scene of the crime by channeling the other victim. Did she channel Dhurke and leave? And is that how Dhurke is... Did she channel Dhurke then this whole time? Oh my freaking god. Oh my freaking god. Is that why Nina went missing as well? Because when Nina was gone, she was pretending to be Dhurke. Oh my freaking god. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. You explains why no one found you after the murder was discovered. But Apollo, that's your... Apollo, I know he's doing a job here, but that's your dad. There's no way. Oh, you putrid pepper. Of all the half-witted buffoonery to come tumbling out your lips. Now you do. You wait to hear about your dad as well. This is your dad. But I suppose I indulge you and play along with your little delusion. Jesus freaking Christ, guys. Tell me, Mr. Justice, who was the other victim? Dhurke. Oh my god, this is gonna be brutal. See, even we're not believing it. That's how... See, he's doing his job, he's on autopilot, but even he doesn't want to believe it. There's no way this can be true. But... No, I can't stop now. Yeah, it's... This music as well. Dhurke is dead. Dhurke's dead. If this is the truth, it's the only way forward to solving this case. Here's the thing, guys, like, I'm not going to apologize for being a bit silent at some points, because I noticed after the fact when I'm like, oh, I wasn't speaking for a second there or whatever, or, but, like, to me, like, I'm just kind of like, I just don't want to say something for the sake of saying something when I'm, like, my body is, like, a little bit in shock right now, you know? Oh my god, I've never seen him do a presenting screen like that. Because we're presenting our own fathers. Listen, son, even if you manage to prove me innocent tomorrow, I don't have long to live. But wasn't this after he was already dead when he said this? There's no escaping death now that has his sights set on me. Or was this before he told us about his illness? Dhurke knew everything? He knew he was going to die? But he couldn't bring himself to tell me. He knew he was going to die in this way. I have one more big secret. I'm afraid I can't tell you what it is. Is this certain someone Amara? Or he couldn't accuse the love of his life. This is insane. The sad truth is, the other victim channeled by Amara was...
Take that!
Oh, Apollo. Yeah, you're feeling it too. Oh my god. The defendant, Dhurke Samedi. Jesus, dude, what the hell? Ace Attorney? This is a first, I feel like, in Ace Attorney that we have to reveal the death of our own father. That she was channeling. My heart is racing. Is the one Queen Amara channeled? He's the other victim. This is insanity. I feel sick. Apollo, what are you... Do you realize what you're proposing? I'm nearly... like, you know when you have the feeling in your throat when you think you're about to cry? That's what I'm feeling right now.
Objection.
I demand an explanation, Mr. Justice. Yeah, look at this. It's... You know what's interesting about this? He's not being hoity about this. He's not being smarmy about this. He's worried about this. He know Apollo isn't actually a liar. I don't know when or why Dhurke was murdered. But the facts are evident, and evidence speak for themselves. And this is where they've led me. Oh my god. I see, after Edgar's murder, Dhurke and Maya were the only ones in the tomb. But if one of them was actually dead and being channeled by Amara... It can't be, can it? Yeah. Dhurke's bloodstain at the scene of the crime was the clincher for me. I cannot believe how sick I feel right now. He wasn't even injured, so how could he have possibly bled that much? The only logical explanation is... Dhurke had also been murdered. Nayuta, that's enough. Your explanation cannot be the truth. Again, see this, he's not rebutting it. Like, usually you would have an answer right away, right? Because doesn't want it to be true, because he'd... Oh, I just realized Nayuta never got to reconcile with him. Oh my god, that's so brutal. This is one of the craziest things they've ever done in this game. I do not dare to claim to have proof to support your assertion. Nayuta, I wish it weren't true. I wish with all my heart that I'm wrong. That's the thing, we'd love to be proven wrong in this situation, 100%. But as much as I don't want to believe it, yes, I can prove it. You can prove it? Dhurke's killer must have hidden his body. Oh, the sarcophagus. It would have to be somewhere nobody would ever look. And there's only one such place yet, the sarcophagus, because of the curse. You truly have proof? The fastest way would be to actually have someone check the tomb. Go check the tomb? But why? Because I believe Dhurke's killer hid the body here.
Take that!
There's nowhere else. You would suggest. Again, it's so interesting because Nayuta is like, and it's so breaking my heart he didn't get to reconcile with Dhurke. But like, and Dhurke wanted to see him smile. Wait, but if she channeled Dhurke to get, that means Dhurke would have known. That means he might have been trying to, yeah, he must have been trying to protect her then, because if he knew about this, right? Because I'm such an idiot, guys, because I was like, that's after the trial. Everything he said after the channeling would have been exactly like his feelings, because it's still him. That means early on in the trial, he's still 110% like, he knew the truth, and he didn't say a thing, even earlier on in the trial. This whole time, he was speaking like from a perspective of someone who knew everything that happened. Holy freaking hell, guys! This whole time, Dhurke, when we talked to him at the scene of the crime, when we talked to him in the prison, when we were cross-examining him, he knew the truth. Queen Amara's sarcophagus is the only place in the tomb that no one would dare to look. Plus, the killer would soon become trapped by hiding in there. But a body? Well, that's a horse of a different color. Yes, that's the right way to use that phrasing. Jesus Christ. This is the wildest reveal they've ever had in Ace Attorney, and that's saying a lot, guys, for this game. Which means... I'm getting lightheaded. I believe we must search the sarcophagus at once. Your Eminence, being the Queen Amara yet lives, I trust we now may open it. If we must. So this is going to prove everything. Your Majesty, I believe Detective Skye is still there at the tomb. Let us contact her once and have her conduct a full investigation into the matter. Nayuta, again, doing his job here. This is brutal. So I'm guessing he died in that tomb when he went in there to do the hostage negotiations. And it seems like maybe he was trying to protect Amara. Because why else would he do this? Why else would you do this? Emma, sight for sore eyes. Jesus Christ, this is a terrifying situation. Now then, Detective Skye, your report, if you please. I don't even feel like I'm in the real world anymore. I'll start with my findings. Please, please. Again, you know what's so interesting about this? This technically helps our case. Dhurke cannot be convicted because he is legitimately dead, right? He cannot be convicted of a crime if he's dead. But you know what's no? You know what the thing is though? They can still convict him of the crime of attempted murder on Amara, right? But what I'm saying is, technically, it helps our case a bit. But we don't want it to be true. Please let me be wrong about this, yeah? I just want things to be as they were. It's so sad because, like, Apollo literally just reconciled with them. And the last thing he said about his dad before he found this out was what? Why'd he leave again? Why'd he leave in this moment? He was questioning him, you know? Oh, stop. The thing is, no matter what, they did reconcile, because those moments that were obviously like the moment in the, I mean, with the the moment in the jail cell, even though he was being channeled, that's still him that trusted him with the badge and stuff, I guess, right? That's still him who trusted him with that stuff. When he asked him to take on his trial, that was when I felt like the full reconciliation was complete. That still happened because that was his dad who did that, right? Like, even if it was being channeled, it doesn't change the parts before he died either, when he when he saved him, or we had these moments together, right? It doesn't change that. But obviously it's one of those situations where, like, you still want the aftermath. You still want some time after those reconciliation moments, you know? A search of the sarcophagus. A body that appears to be severed. Several? How much is several, Detective Sky? Tell me it wasn't Dhurke. Several? Tell me my whole theory was completely off base. He's sweating because, again, he's trying to do his job, but he doesn't want this to be true. We don't want it to be true. I have a photo of the body, and I have positively identified it as... Jesus Christ. He has a blue butterfly pendant. Is that the other half? Because if the pink butterfly pendant... That means there's two butterfly pendant. Is it like a bracelet that they give to each other, like a necklace they gave to each other? But no, he took the pink one, so... It seems like two of a pair, right? This is so brutal to look at. Are you kidding me? But they said several days old. How long was he dead then? Oh, Apollo. Oh, no. That's so bad. It's so bad. They literally just reconciled. Why'd this have to happen? Damn it, Dhurke, answer me. They literally just reconciled. They literally just became father and son again. The relationship was getting so strong. He wanted to see you to smile as well. How can this be? Oh god, guys, I'm on the verge of breakdown, man. Who's laughing? The traitorous snake, the very head of the insurgency, murdered? Oh, what a joyous day, those fools shouting for change and revolution. You have a precedent in the other case that a rebel being murdered is still a serious offense. You have a precedent that you said that this was still a crime. Someone almost went to prison because of that crime. Maya was nearly killed because technically they thought she killed a rebel. We'll finally turn to whatever rocks they crawled out from under. But of course she can change the rules. How horrible is this that how Apollo and Yuta are feeling right now, and she's laughing. She's having a laugh. Evil, evil woman. So evil. What a brutal reveal. No, Yuta, you should be allowed to express how you feel fully. That was your dad too. Oh my god, the two brothers basically not knowing how to even handle the situation. What was he even fighting for? Dhurke trusted you with something. Dhurke loved you, so there's no way he would have trusted you if he didn't have a reason for this. He had to have had a reason for this. Apollo. What am I supposed to do? Oh my god, Apollo. He had to have had a reason. He wouldn't have given you this trust if he didn't have a reason. You know? He's falling into despair. My heart, man, my heart, Apollo. What? What are you doing now? Oh, God. A lawyer. Should never look the way you do right. The way you do right now. This is from the last case, right? A dragon never yields. Even when wounded, a dragon bites down hard and never lets go till its dying breath. Jesus, dude. Oh my god. It glares, it roars, and it latches its jaws firmly onto its prey to the bitter end. That's what lawyers do to get the truth. Jesus Christ. But Dhurke, what if the truth is that you're... Apollo in court tomorrow. You may find yourself faced with the truth that he did say this. He did say this to us. But I know you and I know you can handle the truth no matter what it turns out to be. I know that because I believe in you. You're my son after all. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. When I said a while back that I do think they introduced Apollo into Ace Attorney, and they just introduced a character that they were going to put through so much pain for years upon years. And as I said, Phoenix has gone through so much. Maya has gone through so much. Pearls has gone through so much. Trucy has gone through so much. But I really feel like they made Apollo's character to just go through pain after pain, emotional and mental turmoil constantly, to the point that like it's just there's no character in Ace Attorney who goes through more mental torment on the regular basis than this character. It's so sad. You believed in me that much. That's what I'm saying. He believed. There's a reason he believed in you. You need this. Oh. Times he saved. Oh, God. Times he saved him as well. Oh, my God. Dhurke. I think I finally understand. I can't yield. Not now, not ever. Oh my god. This is my man. This is my man. Not after Dhurke believed in me despite knowing what was about to happen. Jesus Christ. I freaking love him so much. He believed in you. He did. Besides, Dhurke left me with two things it must do. F you, wireless controller, be disconnected. I'm gonna sit in this moment anyway. You're not gonna stop me. You're not stopping me. Dhurke left me with two things I was meant to do. I must do. Are you alright, Apollo? So sorry about that, guys. Phoenix obviously worrying about Apollo, as you would be. Sorry about that, Mr. Wright. But I'm fine now. Oh my god. Apollo, no, you have to realize what's happening here. You have to realize. Well, I don't realize fully, but you know what I'm saying? Like, the situation we're in now. Detective Sky. How sure are you that the body's been there? That's the thing, few days. That means that he must have been there, like, for, like... But how long is a few days? I'm positive no autopsy has been performed yet, but I'd say it's been... Wait. We literally... Didn't we, like, fly to Crane, like, yesterday? Does that mean he was dead when we were in... America? How long has he been dead? The low temperature inside the sarcophagus kept it from decaying, of course, yeah. Oh, and the chest area bore 3 gunshot wounds from a small caliber weapon. I believe they're the cause of his death. So, is there a possibility then that he was dead when he... But how? Did she channel him all the way to America? That mean, if she channeled him to America, that means that she wanted Apollo to come here. Or wanted to meet Apollo. Or wanted Apollo to help. Because she had to willingly channel him, right? I know that his personality takes over because it's him. But she would have to willingly do it, right? More than 3 days have passed since his death. He was shot. So I'm assuming that he was channeled all the way to America. 100%. Jesus Christ. At least 3 days, huh? That means Dhurke was already dead by the time he came to visit. So literally the first time we met him was 3 days. And again, it is still him. It's his personality. It's his feelings. Dhurke knew he was dead even at that time. And he probably knew as well that his time was limited with Apollo. So he was trying, like, that reconciliation was, he was definitely trying to, like, reconcile as quick as possible with Apollo. And I'm glad Apollo was so receptive to it in the end. Because at first I was like, Apollo, you don't have to accept it anyway. I'm glad he did. Then who was channeling him? That's what I'm saying. Wouldn't Amara then have to, like, at least want him to find Apollo then? I think it would have to be someone who could get in and stay in the US without rousing suspicion. Yet also have a solid cover story so they wouldn't be seen as missing. What? I believe this is who was channeling Dhurke. We saw him in the States. Is someone get in the States and someone... Well, if you're saying who's not missing, wouldn't it be Amara then?
Take that!
This is who was channeling him? Wait, so it's not her? Because then it'll be Maya then, right? That's the only other person. You sure? I guess it is a bit of a stretch. That's an understatement of the year. Okay, I made a mistake here. But, like, I thought that, like, if they're saying, oh, it's someone who could be missing and not arouse suspicion. It's okay. It's Maya then. It's Maya. So Maya... No. Do you remember Maya's testimony? She said she had something she kept secret with Dhurke, right? Or something along those lines. She did. Your Majesty. I believe this is who was channeling Dhurke when I saw him in the States. She said that. She said that.
Take that!
She freaking said that. Maya? Oh, I see. She was being held hostage at the time. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. If this is the case, then he had a meeting with Maya beforehand, possibly. That means she probably saw him die even. So my theory about Amara wanting him to get to Apollo is wrong. It's wrong. So it seems only natural she wasn't around. Right, and do you remember what she said earlier? Yes, I do. I think you know what you're gonna say. So please just tell me what exactly were you hiding. She said you had something to do with Dhurke, right? But I promised Dhurke wouldn't say, so she knew, obviously. Jesus freaking Christ. You made a promise to Dhurke? A pretty big one. Dhurke didn't want his own death to be known. The other member of the Defiant Dragons would lose all hope if they found out. Yeah, 100%. 110%. It's the same thing he said. Remember he said when he was being channeled, he said that if they found out I was sick, they'd lose hope. And this is a fact. You lose a leader, you lose hope. That's the reason they try to get rid of leaders when it comes to rebellions. And that would snuff out the flames of the revolution for good. You need a strong leader. You need a strong leader. Miss Faye, Dhurke told you to keep quiet about this, didn't he? I guess it's no use hiding it anymore. I promised I'd tell. This must have been so difficult for her. Right? But again, this is the type of person Maya is. When someone trusts her with something like this, she's not going to break that promise. So I don't hold it against her at all. Dhurke made a promise before he died. So I was right then. Apollo? There's something I need to tell you. What? It's about, you know, oh, Maya, Dhurke's final I can't handle Maya with tears in her eyes. I'm listening, Miss Faye. What happened in his final moments? It was soon after I was kidnapped. Dhurke paid me a visit in that tomb where I was being held captive. I'd say it was a few days before Minister Igna's murder. Are we getting a vision of this? Hey, young lady, time to get you up and out of here. So this is Dhurke obviously speaking to her. This is the last time Dhurke was truly alive then? It's the revolutionary guy. I'm here to rescue you. You are? Why? I figure things were a little too quiet with that stamp-sucking scumbag. So I started digging around. That's when I found out you've been abducted. But why would a rebel help me? Let's go before it's too late. It already is. Is this... It is. Oh no. So maybe it was from his gun then. Long time no see, a rebel blowhard. Sorry guys, I'm not I usually do the voices, but this might be the last time I get to do a Dhurke voice, so I kind of want to like do it. If you forgive me, I know this is a highly emotional moment, but it means something to me as well. I know you're up to something, and I'm going to find out what. Jesus, what? They just show it like that. I've never seen him do that in this game. I've never seen him do that in this series. Just show someone's death like this. Oh my god, he powered through the first shot. You're such a bastard. That's God is smart. You become a real thorn in my side, see? So it's time for you to be pushing up daisies. Oh. They've never shown an actual, right? They've never shown, they probably have, but like never this graphic. Did you really think a pea shooter like that? Oh, Dhurke. Oh. Could kill a dragon. Is that when he shot the vase? And look, yeah, you're terrified now, aren't you? You're nothing without your bullets, aren't you? What are you, some kind of freak? Nuts to this? Absolute bastard. Dhurke was shot several times but barely even flinched, and he shouldn't have to power through that. But he was so tough, and again, he wasn't going to show he was... and again, his own code would never let him show he was weak in front of that freaking bastard. He sacrificed himself from... Oh my freaking god, this is just going to be painful all the way through, isn't it? Jesus Christ. Oh, this image... I'm shaking my head right now in utter disbelief and pain. These ropes. I've got to help you. Relax, it's going to be okay. Sorry things turned out this way. But it doesn't look like I have much longer. Don't say that. You're a spirit medium, aren't you? When I'm gone, I want you to channel my spirit. Stop it, don't give up like that. If you do, untying a robot, that would be child's play. That's so freaking... Because I was always thinking like, oh, he should be able to like rip out of the ropes because he's much bigger, but also he's a freaking rebel. Of course he knows how to untie a rope. Please hang in there. You can still make it. Promise me. One thing, young lady. It's about my son. Jesus Christ, man. Dhurke was talking about you, Apollo. He said he wanted to see you one last time. Jesus Christ, man. What are they thinking? So he asked me to return to the US and channel his spirit. The tears streaming down her face as well. He really said that. He also said he'd been meaning to visit you for years, but he kept putting it off. And that this was his last chance. You just show up here without warning after all this time, and that's why it was so sudden. I came all this way to see you, son. Come rejoice. Why didn't you tell me the real reason you're here? You really did come to the US because you wanted to see me. Of course. I know he was still... And that's the thing, you still doubt it because you didn't see him for 10 years. I guess this means... It was Igna that hid Dhurke's body in the sarcophagus after Maya left the tomb. Apollo, you can't stop now. Dhurke would want you to keep pressing on. That's what I'm saying. There's a reason Dhurke entrusted you with this. I know, Miss Faye. And I won't disappoint him. Defense, if you're ready to proceed after all this. This is one of the most emotionally heavy things they've done in this series, and it feels surreal. You know what I mean? It feels absolutely surreal that they've even done this. I don't want to say it's masterful. I'm wiping tears off my cheek. It's masterful in a way because it's a gut punch like no other gut punch. It's the idea that Apollo got to reconcile, right? But they didn't get to have those moments afterwards. And then while he was still being channeled, he was trying to prepare Apollo to... Because he knew Apollo was going to find this out. He trusted Apollo, but he was trying to prepare Apollo for the fact that he's not going to be around forever. What's Dhurke gonna... Sorry, what's Naruto gonna feel about this? If you think about all the way back when we saw Dhurke for the first time in that vision when people were describing him in that artwork, that we would be here in this situation with Dhurke, I would have called you a liar, man. It's crazy. I would first have you answer this. Do you believe the accused's death will impact what we know about this case? How could it not? He's dead. Yes, and I believe I can explain everything now. Very well, your explanation, please. Okay, here we go. Dhurke entered the tomb at 3 p.m. and at the time the hostage exchange was to take place. Or rather, Dhurke as channeled by Miss Faye did. So she, at that point, we still had Maya with us this whole freaking time. So she had already left. She wasn't even in part of this hostage negotiation anymore. She wasn't being held hostage. It was a bluff by what's his face? Igna. It was a bluff. Now, by the time you enter the tomb at 3 p.m., Minister Igna was already dead. I say that because we know Minister Igna was murdered at 2 p.m. We've established that as well. But there was someone else in there. The person was already hiding in the tomb waiting to channel Dhurke in place of Miss Faye. That would be Amara then, right? Will we actually get it right this time by picking Amara?
Take that!
It was you, wasn't it? The fact of the matter is, Queen Amara killed Minister Igna at 2 p.m. She then went to his private quarters and channeled his spirits. Okay. The minister, thinking he was going to be late, hurried to the tomb for the hostage exchange. That's crazy that he just woke up and thought he was still alive. Isn't that such an insane feeling to have? But once in the tomb, Queen Amara stopped channeling Minister Igna and hid herself. Then when Dhurke entered at 3 p.m., she snuck up from behind and forcefully drove Dhurke's spear to... What? How do you do that? How do you even do that? That's what I'm saying. Like, I never heard of the drove his spear out of her body. Impossible.
Objection!
Or objecting. I'd love to object. Actually, there is a way to do that. Have we seen this before? Oh, a Magatama parting. I completely forgot about this, if this was a thing, yeah. Using long, anyone can drive a spear out of a person's body, even if it refused to leave. I completely forgot about this. Ugh. Are you telling me that the extra pale brown Magatama in the tomb was... It was like a drained Magatama. And you've seen one in action before. That's crazy, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I would turn to a pale brown. Yeah, this did, it's one of those things where, like, I feel like because this was actually, like, technically, like, a month and a bit ago when we did this trial, that, I think even more than that. I think it was even more than we did that. Like, I just sometimes need refreshers, but I think it's fine. Like, a little bit of a refresher, and I love the way the game does this, and that's why this game is made for me, you know what I mean? Sometimes you need refreshers if you forget some stuff, like, not that I forgot the idea that you could do this, but I just, like, was like, wait, what, you can do this? Yeah, you can. You definitely can. Yeah. I'm glad the game reminded me of exactly the situation this happened in. In other words, the brown Magatama found in the tomb looks that way because its power had been used up in pushing Dhurke's spirit out of Miss Faye's body, right? I probably passed out as soon as Dhurke's spirit left my body. I was exhausted after channeling for so long, after all. After that, Queen Amara must have dressed up Miss Faye in her usual outfit and tied her up. I'm not sure where she got the outfit, but we can assume that she had it all planned out 100%. Then, Queen Amara must have changed into Dhurke's clothes, smeared blood onto them, picked up the knife, and channeled Dhurke's spirit. That's how she made it look like Dhurke had committed the crime. So the whole time, that was literally Queen Amara channeling Dhurke. So Dhurke, when he woke up and was like, I don't know what's happening, probably, like, was legitimately confused at the time. And that's how she escaped. Right under our noses. It's actually oh, that's the first time we've seen her sweat. I don't know, Apollo. The whole thing still seems a bit far-fetched. Far-fetched? Dhurke, what was going through your mind while I was unfolding? That's what I want to know too, because I was like, did he know the truth? Was he trying to help Amara? What was, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what was going through his head at this point? If he knew, if he eventually realized, because it seems like he did realize something was going on there. What did he think? So ultimately, it was all for naught? Nayuta? Yeah, Nayuta, what are you saying? Those dreams of revolution Dhurke was always spouting. They placed nothing but false hope in the minds of people. What are you talking about? And in the end, they were simply fantasies. Nayuta, they don't have to be. They don't have to be. It's about living on, and that's what happens. Revolutions die if someone doesn't live on through the spirit of the revolution. Again, I know I'm calling back to the Irish Revolution, but when all those leaders were executed in Kilmainham jail, other people stepped up to the plate. Michael Collins stepped up to the plate. Other leaders stepped up and said, we're going to take on this revolution now. Nayuta, how can you... I think he's just... I wonder if he's just... This is how he's dealing with how upset he is. I wonder. No, we don't need this right now. We don't need this right now, Nayuta. Karma has spoken. The dream of a revolution has withered on the vine. Its fate is sealed. I think... maybe as well this makes him feel better about or maybe it's like a coping thing. If he can say like, well, the revolution failed, then like all these years of me working under the thumb of the regime means I was right, means the situation wasn't wrong. It's like protecting his own heart almost. The other insurgents will soon awake from their shattered dreams. No, Dhurke's dreams can't die like this. Yes, someone has to, they have to live on. They have to live on. I'm not going to sit back and let that happen. I can't and I won't. Nayuta, don't forget that Dhurke's been proven innocent. His name is no longer tainted by the charge of murder. Now the rebels and their sympathizers who have been calling for his release can't be charged with abetting the accused. Are they going to try and... They're going to do something to make this like trial keep going, though. And they're going to do something to make it still dangerous on our end, for sure. They're not going to just let this happen in terms of Garan and Amara. So the revolution is far from over. It's only just begun. You tell him, Phoenix. No, Dhurke has not been proven innocent. You have merely indicated the possibility of his innocence. Nayuta? What do you mean? Dhurke is indeed dead. However, what if it was Dhurke who killed Minister Igna while being channeled by Miss Faye? Interesting. He's not wrong in saying that this is again, when I said Nayuta's a good lawyer, I'm not saying he's correct, because I know he's wrong in this sense, right? I know he's going to be wrong. But he's always very efficient at finding the right way to reverse things. And he's not wrong in saying that, yes, we've proven that Dhurke is dead, but we now have to also prove that it wasn't him who killed Igna at that moment, since Maya was still in the tomb at the time, right? He still was. She could have channeled him there. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying that Nayuta always has a really good way of retorting what we're saying. And while the crime could have occurred at 2 p.m., you have yet to substantially prove it. I don't know. I think we have proven it, but again, he can argue that the noise is not enough proof, right? Or do you have conclusive proof that the time of Minister Igna's death was 2 p.m.? Well, no, I don't, but Nayuta is very good at what he does. What? We're just going into further testimony? As it appears that I have fallen under suspicion, I would like to state my case. Prosecutor Samadi, the rebellion must be snuffed out once and for all. This is all it's about. It's ending that rebellion. They want the rebellion done. They don't care about this all the other stuff. You must prove Dhurke Samadi to be the foul murderer that he was. Because here's the thing, even though he's dead, he loses all sympathy if you find out he actually did go against the values of the rebellion. Even though, like, I'm sorry, but killing Igna is, like, to me, I don't care what anyone says, that is 100% something that you would still support in a rebellion. But the way that they've done this rebellion is they've built it upon the idea of, like, we're not going to kill anyone, right? They've built it upon that, so they have to follow those values. But, like, again, if I was one of the followers and he killed one of the dudes who was responsible for more death in Karain than, like, you know, anything, who was executing people on his lunch break, like, not bad to me. and every last insurgent and their sympathizers must be found guilty on the defense. She was, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They still turned it around. There was no way we were getting out of that easy. There was no way. Not that easy, but you know what I mean. As you wish, Your Eminence. Naruto, please snap out of this. Your dad is dead. Your dad has died. I know he knows that. He's coping like crazy right now. But I wish I could get truth in, because legitimately, this is all defense mechanisms in my opinion. I think he's upset. He's frustrated, right? But again, as I said, what's the best way to prove, or the best way to cope with this? This whole time when I was going against what Dhurke said, this whole time when I was under the thumb of Garan and this regime, it's clear I was right because the revolution was never going to succeed. Why is Naruto doing this? Garan shouldn't have him under his thumb anymore. That's the thing. I wonder if it's a coping mechanism. Amara's not a hostage, so what gives? It's a good question, right? Naruto, what's left to chain you to her like this? Well, it is his mother. That's one thing. And we've known throughout history, and we know in our own lives, parents have a very big power over their kids. Very well, the Queen Amara, please proceed with your additional testimony. So we're going more testimony? Just like that. And it's going to be called You Have No Proof. Just You Have No Proof. Guys, I'm going to end this episode here today with this major cliffhanger. As I hope you understand why I do this. It's not because I'm like, ooh, what's going to happen next? Every episode is a cliffhanger, technically, if you want it to be. But I want to end this episode here because in my personal view, in my personal take, I think that I'd rather come back into the next part more like, as I said, emotionally ready, not tire myself out with all the stuff that's been happening today, not emotionally exhaust myself, so I can come into this with like a clear head. It's not ever going to be clear because we're dealing with like so many crazy things that are happening here, but there was such high emotions here that it just doesn't. I think if I kept going, like I would be emotionally exhausted and not as good as we could be. But it's still very incredible what just happened here. So, just to talk about everything happened here, I feel like it's one of those things where, it's one of those things, and I feel like Ace Attorney is very good at this, where like it sends you into like a world that feels very like you're in the Twilight world, where it feels like stuff is not happening, where you kind of have to like, blink, and pinch yourself to kind of feel like, is this happening? And the reason why this is so devastating is because of the reconciliation that happened. What we found out in this episode was that all this time that we were interacting with Dhurke, he was gone. He was dead. But that doesn't change the relationship that they had. In fact, it makes it more impactful and more emotional than you could ever think. We don't know the true story of this. You saw me kind of theorizing why he would do this, but I think that's normal in this situation here. But basically, the story is, from our perception, is that Dhurke tried to save Maya. And then Igna shot him a few times in the chest. A very graphic shooting, by the way. They rarely do that in this game, because oftentimes, even in the original games, they would cut to like a white flash, and then the body would be dead on the ground. But in this case, they showed him fighting off the bullets and then his final moments with Maya. Dhurke thought of Apollo in this situation and said, Maya, will you go to Apollo and basically reconcile with him, right? And in this case as well, like, he wanted to see him for the first time and actually wanted to see him before everything, went to hell, obviously. And he brought Apollo back with him. And that's why I think there's if Dhurke, we have to talk about the severity of what Dhurke knew or what he was aware of, because when you wake up, you obviously don't just like know everything. If there's no one to explain it, you probably are thinking a few things. I don't know, but I imagine he did know more than we think, than usually someone who's getting channeled probably would. But there's a reason he brought Apollo here. He trusts Apollo to do something. There's more that Apollo has to do here, and I think it's to do with carrying on the revolution, also to prove some other stuff that's happening here as well. But she brought him back. Dhurke then went into the tomb, and while she was in the tomb, from our perception, Amara knocked Maya out of the channeling, and then she had the clothes, and she channeled Dhurke, and then killed Igna. Which I wonder, then with the is a situation where like you know, Dhurke knew Amara was kind of like a little bit shady as well, and trusted her in that sense also. But also, like, I guess it's one of those things where, like, we were saying he died earlier, or we were saying he died at 2 p.m. But yeah, that's what seems to have happened, which means all this time, and she hid the body of Dhurke in the sarcophagus. All this time, Dhurke was dead. Or sorry, he was already in the sarcophagus, but all this time he was dead. He's been dead for several days. To me, it is a beautiful but heartbreaking story. The idea that we can say that Apollo got a chance that a lot of people don't get often. One of the things that's like really interesting about life is that sometimes we don't get to say goodbye to people, you know? But in Apollo's case, after 10 years of waiting, he got to reconcile with his father even after he died. Some people would wish for that to happen. And in this sense, it did happen for Apollo. He got to finally reconcile with his father after all the waiting and the sadness and all the stuff that went into it. He got to finally, you know, reconcile with his dad. And I think it's like such a beautiful thing, but also a very sad thing, right? Because at the time, you guys remember, I had a lot of resistance to Dhurke, understandably so. Why? Because he obviously, it's not nice that he had to wait 10 years to see his dad. We can't overlook that. But now looking back, it's like I'm so glad that that Apollo wanted to reconcile with his dad, because he would have regretted it, I think. And not that you should regret. I want to make it clear, if there's anyone out there who like has a father who was rude to them or horrible to them, and they're feeling, no, maybe I should reconcile. Respect yourself first, always. There is this very boomer mentality sometimes of like, you have to understand, you know, where you came from. And it's like, no, I'm not saying that if you should reconcile with someone if they treated you horribly. I'm saying it's very clear that Apollo wanted to reconcile with his dad, who wanted to reconcile with him. And that's the important part, right? It's a want to reconcile. Don't just reconcile because you're worried something will happen, because you'll just be more upset in the long run. But not only that, but he got his dad to save his life again. He got to hang out with his dad and talk to his dad. But the sad thing is that he didn't get to truly say, you know, he didn't get to be with his father in his true final moments. But I think it's almost nicer that like he got to meet, he got to know Apollo, knowing somehow that he was going to probably not be here for a while, or not be here afterwards. It's kind of beautiful. You know what I mean? It's kind of sweet that. And it's tragically beautiful that, like, you know, because I said, not many people get that chance. I get the chance to talk to my dad even after he's gone. That's huge. There's people out there, and you guys know this to be true, that would beg and plead and do anything for the chance to have that. And he got that chance. The craziness of this whole thing is that, like, it kind of like suddenly sprung upon us, but it kind of started to make more and more sense as time went on. And the way Apollo took the news was this devastated him. This made him almost like want to like go into a pit of despair, but he remembered what his father said to him, and he took his words with him about being a defiant dragon. And that's where it becomes like something super, super important to Apollo to follow the words of his father even beyond the grave. It was a very beautiful moment, remembering those words. We also have a situation here where where Nayuta has also reacted to this, and it's, again, I'm just theorizing, but my opinion now is that he is coping like crazy with this situation. I don't mean cope like, you know, like, oh, cope. I'm talking about like coping in terms of like literally trying to cope with this. Because we saw when he heard that he might have died, he was frustrated to the point that he did, not because it ruined his case, because he didn't want it to be true, right? Because if it is true, that means, let's just be honest here, what this is. He did not get to reconcile with his dad like Apollo did. And it's another thing on the pile of things that makes him and Apollo kind of separate. Apollo went on to live on and really embody what the Defiant Dragons were, but Nayuta went against that. And what's a better way? And usually humans do this all the time, by the way, right? Can I give us a really bad example here? I always do bad analogies, but you guys know. But like, there was a recent concert that I couldn't go to, right? And I was so excited about it, but I wasn't able to go to it in the end. And I remember specifically reports from that concert said that people were waiting outside in the rain for a long time. It was a really bad experience before and after. The concert itself was great, but it was a really bad experience before and afterwards. And what was crazy about that is that, again, you don't control it. But like now I look back and I go like, no, I wish I would have went. But that night when I heard about all these reports of what happened at the concert, you know what happened? I think my brain went like, see, it's actually a good thing I didn't go to the concert. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So I think in this way, Nayuta is trying to find a way to kind of cope with the idea that, like, okay, my dad is dead. I didn't get to talk to him. So was I wrong to not try and reconcile with him all these years? Was I wrong to be under the thumb of this regime in whatever way he is, right? And my theory is that he's coping by saying the revolution is useless now. So since the revolution was useless and it was going to be useless, then that means I wasn't wrong to be on this side for the while I was. Even if he doesn't fully believe it, if he's not fully there, I think there is a part of his brain that's like, it's easier to think of it this way than to because what's the alternative? My dad died without me saying I love him, without me talking to him, and with me betraying his order and his rebellion. That's the alternative, right? But here's the thing, and this is what I think needs to be known as well. That's not the truth, but that's the mentality that he would have in the alternative if he tried to face the truth. But then someone would remind him of something very important, and I'd love to remind him of this. Dhurke said it to Nayuta. You will always have a place in the Defiant Dragons. Always. So even after death, even after he's gone, Nayuta has to understand this, that he would have been accepted back into the arms of his father no matter what. And hopefully he realizes that. Because even if he didn't get to reconcile with him, Nayuta would have been accepted back into his dad's arms. And here's the thing, right? We always hear this stuff all the time. And I hear it in TV shows. I hear from real people all the time where, like, I've heard, people I know who, like, family members have died and, like, they're like, the last thing I said to him was an argument. And you hear those stories all the time when, like, someone leaves the house and they go to work and the last thing that you say to them is they go like, oh, hey, love you, buddy, And the last thing you say to them is, oh, yeah, you too. And that's it. Or you have an argument or you have something, whatever. But I think what people need to understand those moments, that if you truly loved each other and you truly cared about each other, then that powers through that last argument. Because while you'll think about the argument forever, right? 100%. You'll think about how those last moments forever. You have to also understand that the person who died, right? And again, I want to make it clear here, right? I don't believe in afterlives. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in all this stuff. But I also it's weird to say, I also think it's a very beautiful concept, the idea of there being an afterlife. Does that make sense? But if there was an afterlife and this person moved on and they're up in heaven or wherever they were, again, I don't believe in it, but if there was a heaven, there is a thing where that person would not want you to act this way because there was a love there between you two. And I would always think, and I'd love to get Nayuta and just be like, even if you feel like, you didn't get to really be reconciled with your dad and you didn't get to be near him, Nayuta, remember the times that you had together because he loved you still. Now, we don't know the true story with Nayuta yet. There's still questions. That's the question they asked in this episode. Why is he still doing this? And we asked this question ourselves. But also, again, it's something I can explain by saying, well, it's his mother. You know what I mean? And it's one of those situations where, he's probably coping. We know he cares about Dhurke from his facial expressions and his actions, but we got to see exactly why this is. And I want to make clear as well, I could be completely wrong about my theories. There could be some 4D chess thing he's doing here, right? 100%. And that'll be fine, but I still have to theorize, right? 100%. So what we're dealing with now is that two sons in the court have just lost their dad technically, even though they lost him days ago. Nayuta's mother is now, and his aunt are basically making him defend the point that Dhurke was a killer. So still, even after finding out his dad is dead, Nayuta now has to still convict his dad of a crime and still kill Apollo and still kill Phoenix. And I once again truly believe that in this entire situation, I do feel sorry for Nayuta. And I know that something's going to happen with this character. I know we're going to reveal more about this character, what his true feelings are, all this stuff here. And I'm excited to see that, but also I'm very nervous about what's going to happen there. This was a brutal episode. This was a brutal time, a brutal experience. I generally was so stunned and shocked and so sickened, I think, by a lot of it that was happening. But I think that's just Ace Attorney. That has always been Ace Attorney. I don't think it's ever been this crazy, right? But I think there's always gigantic crazy moments. Like, because again, I imagine if I like, for example, like remember last trial with the stuff with Apollo, how emotional that was, and how much of a gut punch it was. The stuff with Bobby Fulbright. Look back to the stuff with there's been I'm not sure, we know there's emotional moments in all these trials. We know there's heavy moments and crazy moments. But I feel like this is probably like, to me, I would just say outright, I think this is like the craziest reveal they've ever had. And that is saying a lot because this is Ace Attorney, where once per trial we have a reveal of what the hell. Once per trial, not once per game, once per trial we have a reveal of what are you talking about. And when I said this was going to be the most emotional trial ever, it's so funny that before I went into this trial, I said this is going to be the most emotional trial ever. And it's true. But it was like even more than I thought. Like I was thinking on the base level, this is so personal. Now it's legitimately our dad is dead and we're still arguing over if he's the killer or not. Your mother is alive and she's the one that's making you do this. There's so much going on here now and so much still ingrained in this and so many different things that's still based in the Curranism, religion and all this stuff. It's really crazy what's happening here. But I feel it for Apollo and I feel it for Nayuta. And I hope and pray that by the end of this we can have Nayuta on our side in some way, shape or form. I hope and I pray for it. Because I think there's a reason that Garan and Amara want Nayuta to be the one to do this. Because it's the same reason I feel like that they want the rebellion to be snuffed out. Because that's what this is about. We're snuffing out the rebellion. Because if Dhurke is dead, it weakens the rebellion, but you need people to take it over. You need people to fight on. That's what you need. But what's a better way to... What would be the most poetic way to end Dhurke's influence? Proving he murdered someone, proving he tried to assassinate Queen Amara, and then what? Then what do you say after that? Also, it was his own son who convicted him. And a few outsiders tried to protect him and they were wrong and they died too. This solidifies the beliefs of Khura'in instantly. We were right all along. These lawyers are no good. He was a murderer. His own son believed he was a murderer. And she wants Nayuta to do this. I believe because it does add to that, and also at the same time too, it's a control aspect for sure.
Will you be joining us? Then it's settled.
Yeah, this was one of the craziest times I've ever had, and one of the most emotional times I've ever had. I really feel like it's going to go down, in history of Ace Attorney as one of the craziest times ever. It's actually like, making me feel kind of like ill at times. It made me feel sick at times. There was moments where I was like, I just wasn't even able to speak, guys. I just didn't even know what to say. There was one moment particularly in this trial, I actually want to say this now, where like, when you're like, when you try to say something, but you're not, like, it's like you can feel the words at the back of your throat, but they don't make sense, so you don't say them. That way? Do you ever get the feeling where it's like you want to say something, but you don't know what to say? I feel like those moments happen sometimes if you're like in an argument with someone and like they say something that's like kind of true against you, and you're like, oh, what do I say? You have the intention to say something back, but you don't know what to say. And in this moment, I had the intention of just saying something about this, and at times I couldn't. I really just feel like I couldn't. And that means it's really heavy to me. But guys, thank you for watching this. If you want to check out these videos early, this video that came out on Monday came out on the Patreon on Friday. So you can see that for €1 or €1, $1.50 on the Patreon or YouTube memberships. That's the same thing with that's the same thing on both sides. You can also go to the Patreon and see your name in the credits for the €10 or the $12.50 tier. Or you can have your name read out for €15 or $17. Thank you so much to Typharo 2, Jamie Bull, Johnny the Banana, The Ghost of Inazuma, Delicious Felix, Yuld, Anusta, Yasassin, True Peanut Butter, Peter Shelson, Leon, High Kasperian, Jared Beanham, Neo Sharite, and at the highest tier of my YouTube, Royal Gamer 7, Blasco, and Lucinagi.